Alright guys, well I had an issue where the other day when I was looping up my chain, I was spinning it around and noticed that out of the centers here, the O-rings were starting to come out. I actually just peeled one right out. My way to work this morning, I was getting all kinds of clunking and clanking, so I picked up a chain, and we're going to go through a procedure and process on how to change a chain, which is pretty universal for most bikes, but in this case it's going to be on a first-gen SV650. The first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to rotate the chain until we come up on the link that was originally used to join this chain together. And you'll notice that it looks different than all the others. It's actually a center rivet, and the centers are hollow. This is the link we're actually going to cut out. All we're going to do is shave down the faces on both this one and this one, and we'll be able to remove the link right out. Okay, there's one. And there's two. Now, since this is the old chain, you really don't have to worry about how far down you go. Damaging the face of the chain really doesn't matter. So I just got it down to where it was somewhat flush and went a little bit further. So at this point, we're just going to tap it out with a pick. Now, when I say tap, I don't mean that it's going to be that easy, but yeah. Okay, there's one pin, and two pins. Now the rest is pretty easy, but I would recommend getting some gloves just because this gets really dirty. There it is, chain is separated. So what I went with was the DID Pro Street Series X-Ring. It's the VX series. On a 525. Now this comes in 110 links for the naked version and 108 links for the fairing version. So just keep that in mind for whichever bike you have. We'll start from the back sprocket. This gets fed up over the swing arm. In through here. Okay, so to get this side cover off, you can use a 5/16. Take off one up here, one up front here, and another one directly in line with the shift pedal foot. Okay, cover's off. We'll feed the new chain up to the sprocket. And since we left it neutral, it'll be real easy to do this. Just rotate it around. You're gonna have to bend it with the sprocket, otherwise it's gonna want to stay straight. And once you get down to here, go ahead and pluck it off, and reach for it from behind here, and pull it through. Okay, so at this point, you got both ends pretty close to each other here. Close enough that you can almost join them. You will have to move the rear axle forward. Use a T30 to loosen up the back here on both sides. And in order for it to move forward, I'll loosen up the castle nut. I want to be able to reuse this, so be gentle with it. Okay. Light taps. Okay, so I found a 7/8 actually fits on this one. Now we just need to loose enough that it's going to move. There we go. See that tighten back up? Do that a few times. Okay, now in doing so, you can see we've actually brought this chain right up to where it needs to be. Okay, next thing I got was this mini press chain tool. Never used one like this, but it was cheap and it was in my price range, so we're going to use it this time. Okay, now with the chain comes some grease you're going to want to pop open. Definitely going to want to lube this up really well. Now it is my suggestion that if you do not have one, go get an acid brush. They're cheap, they're disposable, they're really helpful. Now the face of this one is going to be the one that has the size and the series of what chain it is. So this one says 525VX. You're going to want to coat the back side of that. At this point, we're going to install the O-rings, well, the X-rings, on each side. Insert one end. There we go. Grab the other side of the chain, and insert the other end. Okay, chain is linked together. The rest of the O-rings, put them on. Now they should hang on by the grease that you just put on. Grab the plate, push it over, and we're going to hold it there while we slide this chain press tool over it. And now to turn this, you're going to want leverage from both sides. So find something to go over it and hold it here. Now you want to be sure that you don't press it on too far, or you'll actually crimp the connector and it'll be too solid. And now you're going to want to back it off and check it. See what the gap is. Basically you want the gap to be the same as all the others, and or make sure that it's loose. Now the best way to make sure that you have the same gap is to use a micrometer. My battery's dead, so we're just going off of basic measurement here. Gap it here, and make sure that it's the same distance on this one, and we're good. We're actually right where we need to be. So we'll leave it there, and at this point what we need to do is press these rivet ends out, and when you do so, you're also going to want to measure the distance of your press. You want to make sure that it is exactly that by the time you're done here. So there's a bit of play. I ended up picking up a Motion Pro full-on chain press tool from one of my buddies at work. So let's get this taken care of and get it pressed on. Not going to go too far, so back it off and then measure it. And getting better. So we're slightly more, but that's not bad. Start up with the other one here. There we go, that's perfect. Okay, so what we're going to do is tighten these back up and pull the wheel back enough to tighten the chain. So we'll start here. And as you can see while we're doing this, the chain comes right up. Now, you don't want too much play. It's way too much. Okay, so you're only going to want about ½ an inch to an inch of play from top to bottom. That is actually a well-adjusted chain right there. Now, what we need to do to be sure that the rear wheel tracks straight is to count the notches. So we're at 1, 2, 3, 4, we're at the 5th. So now we need to get this one into the same spot. Okay, there we go. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and just before the 5th. So we're now adjusted left to right. At this point, we can actually tighten the nut back up and put the cotter pin back in. Now, it doesn't need to be too tight. Just tight enough. Basically want to be sure you can't loosen it by hand. So we'll get the castle nut to where one of the holes hooks through the castles. There we go. And pop the cotter pin right back in. So we'll just take and bend the first one over. And to prevent from snags, I like to push it off to the side here. And same with the back one. There we go. So that nut's not going to go anywhere, it's not going to move. And of course, don't forget to put your cover back on. Okay, so there's a basic rundown on how to change a chain on a first gen SV650. This is going to be very similar for the S model, only have 108 links instead of 110. But anyways guys, if you enjoyed it, rate, comment, subscribe. If you didn't like it, let me know why.